speaking of that, Jamie, you have with you a list of films, do you not?
I do. I brought up some of the worst rated films on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay. We're going to play a little game, Ryan.
Excellent.
This game is called Can the Rock Save It?
Okay. The answer is yes.
That you would say. Jamie's going to give them.
I'm going to pick them at random. There's like 100, but I'm going to scroll.
He'll then give you a little bit of a blurb in terms of what it's about.
Okay.
I want you then to insert the Rock into this film and explain how he could save this film that is poorly rated and save the franchise.
Okay.
Or turn this film series into a franchise. Jamie, what's the first one?
All right, I'm going to go straight off the bat here. 7% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a movie called Mac and Me.
Oh.
It came out in 1988.
What is it about?
The synopsis: a young extraterrestrial separated from its family and stranded on Earth finds friendship with a boy in a wheelchair.
So, The Rock is this kid in a wheelchair. Obviously, he's had trouble finding friends before this alien comes along. So his parents would want to help him out. They've enrolled him in a Big Brother program over in the States. So enter Jimmy Coffin, The Rock's character. He's a bit like he's a younger Rock, being in the 80s, you were saying. So he's a rough and tough, he's a school bully. He's in his last year of high school over there. He wants nothing to do with it. He's just like, why am I going to hang around with this kid in the wheelchair? Until he meets the kid in the wheelchair. They form a bond, and all of a sudden they meet this alien. But at the end of the movie, when the alien's ready to go home, something happens. The Rock then reveals that he is also an alien.
Oh.
He is part of this alien culture, and he's received a distress signal that the planet has been taken over, and the aliens that have taken over are coming to Earth. To be continued.
Oh, look at that, setting up a cinematic universe with The Rock as the lead hero. That is outstanding.
I don't think you can go wrong with that. I mean, turning that, I think that's going to at least bump it up to like 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, maybe something like that.
given how the Mac and Me was a blatant ripoff of VT, I think you probably
exactly.
I think just had a quick Google and not even hiding that. So I think that film is successfully saved. Let's pitch in. What else do you have on the list, Jamie?
All right. I like this one. Chris, you're a fan of rom-coms, aren't you?
I love rom-coms.
Well, this one's called Down to You. It came out in the year 2000. It's got 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. From what I can tell, it has Freddie Prinze Jr. in it.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah, so Down to You. A young man wins and loses the first serious love of his life. Al Connolly falls in love with the girl of his dreams. After the summer, she breaks up with him. As he tries to recover, Al goes to desperate measures.
Well, this is pretty straightforward if it's a Rock film. Obviously, we're still keeping the same cut. So, after Al is heartbroken, he comes back to his hometown to absolutely defeated to meet up with Coach, his former wrestling championship coach, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And he explains that, how he's met the love of his life, but he can't do it because, she's broken up with him. What can he do? And then he just basically picks the boy up and slams him on the mat and then says, "Stay down." He gets up, he slams him down and goes, "Stay down." And he keeps doing that. And he goes, why are you doing that? He goes, "If I'm slamming you on the mat and you're getting up and she tells you that it's over and you stay down, what's the difference? What's the difference, man?" And then he inspires him. And then, because he's an idiot, and it's Freddie producer, so I'm not sure how smart he is or film, it is up to The Rock to basically come with him and then speak to Imogen himself, where he walks up to the girl and does the same thing. He picks her up and slams her on the ground a few times and then does the same speech, and it works both times. They then meet up in hospital because both of them have severe spinal injuries of being slammed by The Rock, and that's when they fall in love again after being hospitalized by The Rock.
And I can just picture the end of the movie too. The Rock walks past their room that they're in, just looks in the doorway, sees them talking, and he just looks at the camera, raises the eyebrow, and walks off. And
absolutely.
All right, this one's an easy one. 2% on Rotten Tomatoes. Texas Rangers. A ragtag group of youngsters band together after the American Civil War to form the Texas Rangers, a group charged with the dangerous, ruthless duty of cleaning up the West.
I think this could go one of two ways.
Mm-hmm. Explain.
Obviously, they go to clean up the West, so to speak, and they get the absolute shit kicked out of them, and they go back to town, and there's this. They go to the bar to sort of drown their sorrows, and there's this old school cowboy sitting at the corner of the bar, and one of them is walking to the bathroom and knocks him and spills a bit of drink, and he just sort of looks at him, raises the eyebrow, and asks, and just says, "You better watch where you're going." And he said, "Oh, sorry," and they end up befriending each other, and he teaches them everything there is to be outlaws and to fight for what they believe in, and they eventually clean up the West, whatever that means. They clean up the West with their new leader, The Rock.
That's one way. There's another way I think we can go with this one, and I believe we're basically going to take a page out of the Rambo playbook. After the Civil War, Texas is trying to set up basically, the Texas Rangers. So we're keeping the film's plot. They look through the list of command. They find a commander. He's going to be played by Dennis Quaid, obviously.
Yes,
Dennis Quaid, the commander, and he goes, "Well, if I'm commanding this unit, I'm going to need my sergeant back." He goes out into Texas in the desert, and there he is sitting on his porch drinking his lemon tea, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and he goes, "Sarge, I need you." And the Rock's going to say, "No, I'm retired. I'm out. I saw too many people die during the war. I'm not going to kill again." It's like, "I'm not asking you to kill. I'm asking you to dispense justice." And the whole movie will be that The Rock will never kill anyone. He'll just punch them really hard that you probably what they would, much like the Captain America who doesn't kill people, where you go, that man is surely dead, but okay, let's we'll move past the fact. That was it. Honestly, I'd go see that film.
Yeah, and look, that film will be written and directed by Clint Eastwood. I guarantee you. I guarantee
100%.
you.
I mean, if it's a Western film, it's not Clint Eastwood directing. I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're going to do one more each. This one's for Ryan. These are the 0%. 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Wow. This one's for Ryan because it's up his alley.
Oh.
It's called One Missed Call.
Oh.
Several people start receiving voicemails from from their future selves, messages which include the date, time, and some of the details of their deaths.
I've heard of the movie, so what I got from you is that they receive phone calls with the exact time of their death.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, all right.
Let's hear it.
All right. Well, little do they know, using a voice manipulator is they're getting phone calls from The Rock. And he's like, "Jimmy, you're going to die in exactly 1.5 hours." And Jimmy's like, "Please, no, I don't want." He's like, why don't you want to die, Jimmy? And Jimmy's like, "But I don't." And he goes, "It doesn't matter why you don't want to die." And then an hour and a half later, Jimmy's sitting on the couch. He's like, "Nothing can possibly happen." And then all you hear is just some very loud steps that apparently Jimmy can't hear. And then you just see The Rock standing behind him and snaps his neck. And this goes on for every single other person because The Rock is the killer.
Oh,
and that's the twist.
That's interesting.
I guarantee that'll get it to at least 50%. At least 50. I mean, there's not much. That's a crappy concept to begin with. There's not much I can do in terms of, But
you're casting The Rock, the people's champion, as the villain.
Yeah, he's been a heel from time to time. So, why not embrace that for a little bit? Let's see a little bit of. Let's put him outside his comfort zone. Let's make him the bad guy. I'm
not sure if the marketing team would appreciate that concept.
Well, I mean, it's one missed call at 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the marketing team would just be stoked to have The Rock, even if he was just in there for like 5 minutes. So,
yep. You know what? I will bend to that argument to say yes.
I already want to see that movie, and I have heard of the original, and I think it just sounds horrible.
It does. It does sound like a terrible, terrible film. All right, Jimmy, one more.
One more.
Let it rip.
All right, another 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
0%. Geez, you love these 0%ers, don't you?
And it just, I mean, the cover looks like a, who's that? Someone Sparks level. It is called Return to the Blue Lagoon.
Oh.
In this sequel to the Blue Lagoon, 2 children are stranded on a beautiful island in the South Pacific with no adults to guide them. The 2 make a simple life together and eventually become suntanned teenagers in love.
That is a weird ass movie you're suggesting to add to The Rock. So, wait. So it's just basically All right. Here's how we save that movie. All right. Wow. Okay. Here's how we save it. These 2 quote unquote young teenagers who are on their little island, who have fallen in love. Apparently, it's some sort of romantic comedy. They stumble into the island. They go exploring. They find this amazing waterfall, and inside the waterfall, they see a strange jade statue, and they touch it, and all of a sudden, it starts to crack. Then all of a sudden, Maui appears, which is played by The Rock. Dwayne Johnson goes, "What can I say but you're welcome. For the sun and the moon and the stars."
Ooh,
and it turns
I
out
don't know about copyright issues there, mate.
As it turns out, that he is now awoken because of their love, but because he's awoken, he will now save the world from an incoming alien threat. I'm not sure if the Blue Lagoon has this particular budget in mind, but there you go.